This video is going to be about pantothenic acid or vitamin B5. Okay. Most of the information in this video will come from the Linus Pauling Institute page on it, which the link will be in the description. Panothenic acid is a precursor to coenzyme A, which is required for the biological activity of several processes, including fatty acid synthesis. Panothenic acid is essential to all known life forms. That means everything that's alive uses panothenic acid, which is why it is found throughout all plant and animal food sources, in varying degrees, of course. Adequate intake has been set by the Nutrition Board of the U.S. Institute of Medicine at 5 milligrams per day, based on average intake. Limited evidence shows that B5 may improve wound healing. Treatment with high-dose pantothenic acid's derivative, pantothene, is shown to lower serum cholesterol and lipid concentrations. Foods rich in pantothenic acid include organ meats, particularly liver and kidney, fish, shellfish, milk, dairy products, of course, eggs, avocados, legumes, mushrooms, sweet potatoes, whole grains, and broccoli. Processing, freezing, refining, canning, etc. Basically, it can result in a 35 to 75% loss of pantothenic acid. Bacteria present in the human microbiome is capable of synthesizing vitamin B5. Toxicity. No toxicity is known to result from doses below 10 grams per day. There is no tolerable upper limit set for pantothenic acid by the Food and Nutrition Board in the USA. Keep in mind that the toxicity above 10 grams per day results in diarrhea and gastrointestinal distress. It doesn't seem to be life-threatening. Nutrient interactions. Large doses can compete with biotin for absorption. Biotin is another B vitamin. Because they are both dependent on the human sodium-dependent multivitamin transporter, or the HSMVT. Drug interactions. Contraceptives and hormone therapies, especially with those that contain estrogen, increase the requirement for pantothenic acid. Using pantothenic acid with cholesterol-lowering medications, or niacin, nicotinic acid, which is also used to lower cholesterol. Nicotinic acid, as you'll remember from my video on niacin, or vitamin B3, nicotinic acid was used successfully prior to the creation of statins to lower serum cholesterol back in the olden days. But it has flushing and other, and it has symptoms it can cause symptoms such as flushing, which are non-life-threatening, but it can also cause liver damage at high doses. So very high doses of niacin can cause liver damage, but they're, again, exceedingly high. You can find that in my video on vitamin B3 or niacin, same thing. So when you use pantothenic acid with cholesterol-lowering medications or nicotinic acid, it may cause additional effects on the blood lipids, meaning essentially it could lower them more. I want to remind people that I'm not a doctor, I'm not a nurse, I'm not a physician, I'm not a chiropractor, I'm not a nutritionist, I'm not a dietitian, I'm not anything like that. Therefore, please do not take this or any other video on my channel as advice to do or not do anything. Nothing on my channel should be taken as advice. It's not advice. It's a video on YouTube made by me. I'm not a professional anything. If you have a health concern, please seek the recommendations and the advice of a licensed medical practitioner, preferably one in your area. But the point is, do not take health advice from YouTube content creators. There will be a similar disclaimer in the description. I wanted to point out that Panothenic acid is one of the B vitamins that I take extra. I take 200 milligrams extra, along with what I get in my B complex vitamin and my multivitamin. And the reason why is because of the processes associated with coenzyme A. I'm a big believer in the triage theory of Dr. Bruce Ames, and I'm beginning to come to like a lot of the work of Dr. Joel Wallach, and I highly recommend people check out Dr. Wallach's concepts on the 90 essential nutrients and read his books, especially Dead Doctors Don't Lie and his book on epigenetics. I think that the epigenetics book, although I think it's a little bit on the fringe of almost becoming Lysenkoism, meaning that I don't think Dr. Wallach puts enough emphasis on the fact that nature and nurture work together. I think that he favors nurture over nature to a somewhat of an extent, to the point where it seems like he might be pushing the limits of what might be considered Lysenkoism. But the facts are the facts. Epigenetics does exist. The things that he does say in the book Epigenetics are true. And I would strongly encourage people to read the book Epigenetics as well as read the book Dead Doctors Don't Lie. I am becoming a bigger and bigger fan of Dr. Wallach as I'm learning more and more about Dr. Wallach. I will leave some links to Dr. Wallach's interviews and his program Dead Doctors Don't Lie in the description, which is a podcast. Essentially, it's an advertisement. It's more of an advertisement than it is a show. But the fact of the matter is, don't necessarily read the book. I mean, don't necessarily take the show as at face value. Read the books. Read the books and learn what he's saying. What he's saying is true. On the show, he does this John Edwards version of crossing over method of diagnosis. I don't really buy that, but what he is saying in the books is accurate. And I do strongly recommend it. I personally take extra Panothenic acid. As you can see, Panothenic acid is very abundant in the food sources. It's not hard to get it as a vegan. And also the gut bacteria can synthesize it. But I do think that, as with many things, a little extra isn't going to hurt, especially when there's no known toxicity at supplemental doses under 10 grams per day, which is far, far, far more than I take per day. And that's all for this video. Please follow the links in the description, read the links, understand the links. Please note that I'm not a doctor, I'm not a chiropractor, I'm not a physician, not a nutritionist, not a dietitian, not a nurse practitioner, not a psychiatrist. I'm not anything. I'm not a professional anything. Do not take this video or any other video on this channel as advice to do or not do anything. But do understand that if you have a health condition, you should probably see a licensed medical provider to get properly diagnosed by somebody that actually can diagnose you. I can't diagnose you. I can't give advice to you. A licensed medical practitioner, such as a physician or a nurse practitioner or even a chiropractor, they can diagnose. I cannot. So please don't take my videos as medical advice. They're not.